and welcome to Warblog. Today we're going to look at the South Kivu Border Operations 2020, Democratic Republic of Congo. Just caught my eye, not a major operation, but I thought it's interesting. I couldn't really figure out where some of these places are. I think these are actually north, almost past Rwanda, but so what I've assumed is they're sweeping from south north, pushing the rebels away. But this is the Congo-Burundi border, and they're looking for the National Forces of Liberation (NFL) rebels, they're described as Burundi rebels. So I presume that they're actually rebels, resisting the government of Burundi, and they're based in this part of Democratic Republic of Congo. There is the Rwanda border, so it's just there, and down here is the coast. So this is sea. So whereabouts it is, I don't know, but it's not a coin or rioter type setup, but it is using random elements. So these units are all randomly placed. So in theory, if they all appeared at the same time, they might struggle, but they probably won't, and they're sort of all over the map. They're not just sort of where you might think there's some, there could be some here, but they are random. And they're also going for I couldn't find anything on these, the National Resistance Council for Democracy, CNRD forces. It says fighting takes place over 3 days, resulting in the deaths of 27 rebels and 3 DR Congo soldiers, so not totally insignificant. Well, it's a sweeping operation, so I think it's not particularly clear what needs to be done, but I think if I was to do this, I might send this guy up the road to Musenga. That's interesting, he didn't get very far. Have a quick look. Seems to be in order. Oh, I think I know why. This is swamp. So you went through the swamp. Okay. You can't even drive through the swamp. Right, well, let's clear this land. Okay, so no rebel units to go. Okay. I'll sweep around this way. No rebel units. Found some. Okay. They can only go 2 movements. Exchange what? Oh. Because they're in town. So that didn't affect them, it affected us. Pain. Okay, so what do they want to do? Well, they probably want to just stay there. Do they? They're pretty tough in that town. There was another one actually where these forces take a town. I might do that next, but I've got so many scenarios and it's hard for me to really figure out which is a good one, which isn't. They all look sort of interesting, but I always think they're a bit like films. No one really knows how a film is going to come across until it's made. A filmmaker might have one intention, but when it's packaged and presented to a cinema audience, for example, they might read into it something completely different. But National Force Liberation, so I'm going to leave them there. If they tried to run away, they would have done it very slowly. Okay. Still got a chance to run away. Actually, also got a chance to fight. You could fight that at 2-1. Plus, they're already depressed. I think we will actually. No, that wasn't good. But we knocked their depressions up a bit. Could have got a retreat on that. That's the exchange. So this is fierce fighting outside of Kiliba. I was watching a video today on YouTube, and it was a war game similar to sort of this sort of stuff, and it looked really interesting. It sort of struck me as that sort of, these are interesting games. Watching them played is interesting. But what I did think of was it looks tempting to just sit there and just keep moving the units. And what I concluded was that what could, I don't want to say should, I mean I would say should, but it's fairly impractical, but what should be applied is between each turn, we're on turn 5 now, you have to write a report on what has happened. And that could be quite tedious and boring, but the thing is, it's not so much really, because here we've now had a significant military operation. We've swept up this road towards Musenga. We actually just crossed. We were bogged down in this swamp. We fanned out, to maybe 5 kilometers southeast of Kiliba. We crossed the river after driving through the swamp, at which point we engaged. We had a primary engagement, which was against the odds, but resulted in a standoff. And then following that, the rebels, they counterattacked against the motorised unit, achieving another exchange. Now there was another battle which turned out to be an exchange, and so we've had 3 battles here. So this would be a major event, bearing in mind, of course, that this whole thing could quite readily have been somewhere else because it's random. Not the fact that he would be in there. So it's his turn. I think he's going to go for it again. Three soldiers died, so perhaps that's what's happening here. Push them back. We don't leave there yet. This looks like fun. Maybe not. I was thinking of crossing the river and getting into the town, but I would lose my movement points, but I could attack that unit. And if I win, I could turn the tide. Oops. Oh, yeah, it would have been no good because they're both towns. Well, at least I'm on the right side of the river. So again, completing that report, we've had a couple more violent exchanges with, the decimation and the mauling of this Congolese motorized unit that was forced to retreat north. But the National Forces of Liberation rebels made a fatal frontal assault against a well-placed motorized unit and failed, retreating in a disorderly route across a minor river. Okay, well, let's turn the tide. We destroyed it. Oops. And there's more. Fight. Oops. Not a good move. Well, yeah, the Congo units have been mauled. It's a shame that they didn't get activated while this one was in combat. There could have been a real confrontation down there. They're motorized, so they're going to actually run away. Mainly because it does suggest that they flee north. I'm going to leave it there because I'm tired. I just wanted a short, quick game, and I think there's been enough action in there to satisfy my curiosity. Plus, they've been mauled. I mean, they might be able to recover down to 2. They might be able to recover down to 2. He's fresh. But that was quite a pounding. And so I think, from a roleplay perspective, I wouldn't want to pursue any further. I could do, but I don't feel like it because I want to sleep. So, but that's interesting. Okay, I'll speak later. Cheerio.